looking at the crowd of people.
Well, the
Was it a
6-year-old and
special
almost
day?
5-year-old.
It was over spring break.
Oh,
Okay, so that makes sense.
Now, when I was spring break, usually it was a canoe.
My
cheap-
6-year-old,
cheap
my
sleeping
nephew-year-old.
bag. Yeah.
My
So-
nephew-year-old. My nephew
It
is
was
almost
just-
5.
His
Okay.
parents went to a church trip. We
It's-
took our youth group. up
Lena,
there
you
for
should
spring
come
break.
anyway. I mean, it's gonna be Mark.
That's an adventure.
It was dumb.
Oh, Dustin Bucksford.
We'll go ahead and get this thing started. Right now, Miss Sheila and Dustin are not here. Andy should be on his way.
Should be, yeah, like what,
Should be.
if he doesn't come though, we don't have.
Yeah.
You're good.
I'll give everybody a few minutes to review the February minutes, and after that, I need somebody to make a motion, please.
Motion made.
Second.
Mike, that motion, and then Melissa, that motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Sorry.
I was,
Any nays? All right. Funding events.
We don't have any.
We do not have any. They're
They've
short
done the
people.
project already?
We need to let them, we'll make them up.
They can,
You want them to wait since they work with y'all? Want them to wait for the whole thing? Usually let people go first.
Preferential treatment, however you need to run through.
I got nowhere to be, fine.
Yeah, they're still on the clock, right?
None of your business.
They're still on the clock.
I get paid to be here.
That's right.
Y'all do whatever you need to
You leave it to me, we'll be in 5 minutes.
do.
You get the absent people.
Sheila and Kristen. Dustin.
That's probably my speaking.
If Andy comes and if he doesn't come, I don't know.
Nice little bump.
All right, we'll go over financials. The sporting events on the weekends, help us.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of it, but there's been some like quiz bowl
Oh, really?
stuff. and-
Cool. Cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull out your short pieces of paper.
Why you look at me? That is.
You almost have pieces of paper. Well, Mike still needs some
Hey,
help,
that's not
Mike,
joking.
probably.
Monday, rude.
Okay, February 29th, balances in our account, our operating account ending 7873 is $1,742,620.47. Balance in our collections account ending 7271 is $1,032,850.66. Sorry. Our CD is now at $495,189.47.
Nice.
I keep steadily going up a couple thousand every month.
It's great. Yeah.
The best meat we made. Wow.
Yeah.
Couple thousand if not
What was
more.
it, like 2 years ago we moved it? Or a year and a
Oh,
half?
what? Maybe a year and a half. I feel like it's been that long.
It was hovering around like the
2 years,
440, 450. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of very nice.
Go to the third page. More comparative analysis. Looky there. You don't have to be so.
I just came through that door.
The hair.
Looked sharp, every one of it. Sounds good.
Tell me about it.
Dustin is not gonna make it if he's not here.
He's not here.
He's not.
We got-
Yeah, he had mechanical issues. So you texted me a while ago.
Make it on your gas you had left?
I made it to the exit. Then I stopped and put a gallon in.
Oh, God.
You sound me, Andy.
We remember when that used to be 30 cents.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, it's not anymore, is it? Yeah.
$3.
I put 10 gallons in it.
$3 was just about to fill my folks.
Oh, it was a late weekend.
Hey, are we ready to continue? We're on the second page of the, or the third page of the financials. You only miss the balances in the bank accounts.
carry on.
Your comparative income statement. We're actually in the red. February 29th by $6,047.88. Whereas this time last year, when we were in the red, $35,498.69. But this year to date, so far, we are in the black, $52,075.21. And compared to last year at $32,946.20.
Probably just like Tommy.
Okay.
Yeah, Tommy never called him.
See, that was,
So on the expenses on the advertising expense, you'll see a difference, and that's usually a timing thing. I was wondering why there's such a difference.
Yeah, so it was probably that last year I got an invoice for a big campaign
yeah, I
that
think there
came
was a
out in
big,
January versus this year I didn't do it or they sent it at a different time or whatever.
they're advertising.
So,
Yes, the advertising.
I see.
That's all, that always comes from Travis.
It's too hard of Arkansas and they came over in Arkansas business and Arkansas Times. Is that up?
There's a lot of outstanding too.
Well, that was around the ask time.
Mm.
Let's get in view, you get your lesson.
Gotcha.
Maybe I should have them around.
Go ahead. I'll take any questions on financials. At this time, I'll take a motion to approve the February financials.
May.
Mike,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. On to the long papers.
The Excel financials, let's just call them that. The front page just separates out the total collections and what's due to A&P and what's due to the city of Conway. Flows over to the second page. Less expenses that come out of it and postage for all of the payables getting mailed. And then the third page. We are our total collections for February of 2024 is $460,760.48, which is an increase over last year of $14,306.01, and over the previous year by $38,778.78. I left the 3 years in here.
It's really good, because last year was really good. And we kind of look over, remember last year, that was an exceptional year, that was good.
The fourth page is our delinquent collections. And for the month of February, we are at $24,254.66, which is 5.43% of total collections. Our delinquent list looks so much smaller. And then next page is our collections excluding delinquent, which this year is $436,505.82. Compared to last year, $371,657.60, which is a $64,848 different, 22-cent difference at 14.86%.
Nine tenths of a percent. We're gonna get there.
Inch it up there, Andy.
9/10 of a percent.
Last page is our pay simple collections, which is our online payments. They totaled $211,469.98. which were 47.37% of total collections. There were 187 food and 41 hotel. Compared to last year, at 153,373.49, which was back then was 27.47%. How long was this last year?
It's double.
I was telling somebody about it today. I was emailing them.
You haven't heard about it?
Most people haven't.
Great job.
Yeah,
Great job.
absolutely.
Okay, let me start off by saying.
Never mind.
No, it's good. The bottom
Thanks,
two,
son.
the bottom two, y'all should completely ignore.
Okay.
I should have taken, I didn't realize who that was
Oh.
whenever Tiffany put them on here, but I did talk to that lady today, and she is getting current for everything that she's ever missed. And she was doing it before I was leaving the office, so.
Thanks.
She didn't know about it until she talked to Spencer.
Very nice. Where is Big D's dogs?
We keep talking about that, I don't
It's a
know.
truck, and it's usually, I think, over off of Hark Rider in that little court of
Yeah.
of
know what you're
trucks.
talking
Across the street too a lot.
Yeah, he does move around, but
Big D's a boot.
I haven't seen him open in a while over at that food court, so they've been just putting the notices on the door and they're disappearing, so he's getting them. But he's up for citation.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, and about an hour and a half before the meeting, I realized Kroger was on the list because we didn't get payments from Kroger. And so I called Ward over at Centennial that processed AB beverage tax payments, and the process of finding their check from last month and their account number and routing number for February, they were routed to Cabot. So he's going to make sure they reroute it back around to Proclaim's account. So I guess there's no way the Kroger's delinquent.
With this long a list, I'm gonna go ahead and need a motion, since there's not much to review here except one.
I'll make a motion.
A motion,
Second.
all right, to approve the 30 days proposed assessment, 60 to intent to revoke, and 90 to cease and desist. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I still think we need to do some kind of something for these repeat offenders, so they'll quit doing this.
Oh, I agree.
This is ridiculous.
I mean, these aren't even large amounts except for the Asian place.
Charcuterie anymore, she's always on there, she's always bothering us, always, sorry, she's one of those friends, I doubt she is, but
She has a court date.
she has a court date. And Gary El Pastrocito, I mean, goodness.
He's been closed down.
Did you know they're gone?
They shut him down.
Oh, yeah, but didn't you find that he was one of these grocery?
I think one of the officers did we not?
They're not connected to the
Okay,
grocery.
okay. It's Tomas.
Tomas is El Pastrocito, right? Yeah. I don't know what the deal with Skinny J's is. But the rest are just normal people on here.
I know I love to show off the yellow, because that is blue.
Oh, great job.
That'll make you feel better if you just say that.
Thank you.
Can I get a word?
Y'all the real rock stars of all this delinquent list stuff.
That's right.
Well, after the last meeting, I think Days In was on here, so I called Bobish and was like, you don't know how to pay your bills or what? And he was like, what? Who do I call? He call you?
No.
Oh, I gave him your number.
him a lot though, so.
Yeah, and he was like, what? I was like, you look really bad on there. Everybody knows it's you. And then he was texting me later that day, paid. I was like, well,
You may
it's
have called
not
our
me you owe the
office.
money.
I may have talked to him.
Might have been you.
Yeah, because we're tax collection's done.
Yeah. So I called him that day. giving him a hard
We need
time.
to start plastering this up on the big screen up there so I can
I have no
see.
problem with that. There's probably only 10 people watching this. I'm gonna see that.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Sorry.
Or they are, yeah,
Yeah, right.
or they are, yeah.
Miss Rachel?
Be careful when you're estimating how many you want.
I'll approve the delinquents.
Is it really? What did you say?
I'll approve delinquents, didn't you?
So we're getting closer to the eclipse. As you all know, there's been a lot of movement on it since then. We've met with UCA again. I got a call from a rep with NBC News regarding eclipse plans in Conway, and they were specifically looking for smaller cities and what they're doing. They said they didn't want larger population centers. They want the cool local stuff. So hopefully they'll feature us in whatever article they're doing. I got a call from a group that was intending to have a 7-on-7 football event at UCA April 6th and 7th, bringing in over 1,000 attendees. And I told them that might not be the best dates. Just if, you're going to be wanting hotel rooms, a lot of them are going to be booked, they're going to be a higher rate, and you're going to have, longer length of stay requirement. And it was like that. They hadn't thought about that at all. And so the lady that I talked to was like, okay, well, I'll call you back later. I didn't hear back from her. So I'm assuming
Should
that
probably
they
shop some rates.
have moved their event. I said, we would love to have this event in town. That sounds great, but I would not advise doing it on those days. Kim has been working with the downtown businesses on putting together a little evening before the eclipse event and, prompting people that are typically closed on Sunday to be open on those days, stay open late, have specials. So I expect a cool eclipse-themed martini on the menu.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, it flipped it away.
It'll black you out.
Blackout martini. This is good color.
Not guaranteed to see better the next day.
That's that 60. That's the C double.
I have reached out to the hotels, and most of them all still have plenty of availability. So one thing that I'm going to try to do, and I know the chamber is going to help with this too, just when people call the front desk, Melissa answers, is let people know that they're only taking direct bookings, because so many people, as I'm sure y'all are hearing, well, I looked on Priceline for, the day before the eclipse and everything was booked. It's not, but they're only taking direct bookings. And so UCA is aware of that. They are pushing people to the lodging site on Visit Conway so that people have the direct links to hotels. So hopefully that will help. Let's see what else. I had a call with a rep from the State Office of Geology, and they're going to have a regional meeting in Conway next March, and they're planning for that already. They have their 2024 conference coming up in April, and so they've asked me to provide some collateral material talking about cycling in Conway. So having that put together so they can hand it out at their booth, enticing people to come to Conway next year. I've been continuing to work with a group of city clerks that are coming here in April, and they'll be having a nice dinner at Mike's place, and should be a group of 25 or 30 people. Let's see, I re-signed a new contract with STR for our monthly reports. The price went up a little bit this year. I actually just sent Jill that contract today, or the invoice today. But then in 2025, the price will drastically increase because they were bought by another company, and we'll no longer have the option of just getting our monthly report. We'll have access to a whole bunch of new interesting things, but it's double the price. So yeah, it's just something that I'll have to plan for next year. Let's see what else. delivering eclipse glasses to hotels, and some of the restaurants have requested them. I've got all the ones for the schools pulled, and I'm working on getting those delivered this week. So they all have them before spring break and they can start passing them out.
Then we give it to my daughter till like the Friday before.
Yeah, and maybe they
Day
won't.
of.
But I
Serious?
know,
Y'all come to school, y'all can leave at 8:30.
but like Conway, for example, we delivered all those to central office, so they're gonna have to
Right,
distribute
most
them
definitely, yeah.
to the other schools, because they got 12,000. For all the students. So also, we're just gonna show this. This is the Arkansas Cycling Guide produced by State Tourism. In the central region, there's a mention of Cadron Settlement Trail. They used one of our photos of the Laurel Park splash pad. And then we have an ad in the book in the Central Arkansas section as well. So 1 paid for, 2 free mentions.
Does anybody, because I was just driving on Morningside, that gravel bike? I mean,
The pump track?
it's like this wide. It's not even a tire could fit on that thing. No, about the size of my backside, yeah.
The one in Smoking Oaks?
Yeah,
Yeah, the one going into
That's the only
smoke.
one I've ever ridden, and
That's,
I'm getting low for that.
listen, it's that wide, but there's no trees on either side. It's that wide everywhere except there's trees or a drop
That
off.
first aid gear out there for me if I'm gonna get on that thing. Dangerous.
Yeah, no, that's the one for the little kids to practice on, Travis. But
That's why I'm not on. I just drove by, I was like, man, that looks
no,
dangerous.
that literally is there to practice riding skinny stuff. But if you get off of it, nothing horrible happens.
Right, yeah.
It's 9/10 of a mile, a small space, nicely done.
2 other things. One is that I talked to Spencer Clausen about the arch. I know we had mentioned this last month in our meeting. He said they ordered all of the equipment needed to repair it in January, thought that it would be here in February. Some of it is here, some of it is delayed, and he said it's the type of project that you need all the materials before you can start. And so he said it could deliver tomorrow. They're expecting it just any day, and the company that's doing the repairs is also working on the soccer fields, but they've assured him that the arch will take priority as soon as they get all the materials. And I think part of that is it's a quicker project. So,
But we don't know, if it can be done by April. I'm still out there.
I think that their plan is that it will be, but
We're hoping
Yeah,
it will.
yeah.
Hope is not a good strategy
Right.
sometimes, but it's out of our hands.
I understand, yeah, just
Yeah.
all the people coming out, just asking.
yeah,
No,
agreed.
that's-
He said it's all just shipping delays to like a large part of the materials required, so. Also, and I think that I'd mentioned this at some point.
Sorry,
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But NICA, the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, is hosting 3 large events in Conway this year. One being the Ugly Gnome, and you
So that
remember
was
what the names of them were?
in May. That's their fundraising event. So the local youth mountain bike team's fundraising event that's always been at Woolly Hollow, but it's promoted, and you get people. A lot of people from Oklahoma, a lot of people from Tennessee. They've moved it to the Meadows, which is a project that this group helped fund. But they'll estimate probably 400 to 500 riders there. A lot of free advertising goes out with that. More adults will be riding. It's probably 2/3 or so adults. But if you have 500 riders, you'll have more than 1,000 folks. And then the good news with these is you will have people coming in, starting to ride that in advance, especially with it being a new course. And then August 24th and 25th and September 28th and 29th, the 2 biggest youth mountain bike events in the state will be here out at the technology park. And that'll be 900 riders each time, and that's 900 youth. So you're looking at something like 3,000 people. I mean, that'll be a hotel filler-upper. Because I would say 2/3 of those riders are from Northwest Arkansas and North Central Arkansas. So that's good partnership with Terry Coddington, the bike and pedestrian coordinator of the city, who's also the state coordinator for NICA. And so we'll have the three biggest cycling events we've had in May, August, and September. And so that's on the heels of getting that new cycling designation, which this group also helped happen. So it's all kind of stacking in on top of each other. I do want to brag on Rachel for a second, talking about that hotel thing. I've tried to tell people one of the best things that she and the CVB did was get with the hotels early and talk about, please be cautionary on your cancellation policies, because I know a couple of people who have 8 to 10 hotel reservations up and down the path, and they're going to cancel. They have them written down, like, here's when I can cancel here, here's when I can cancel here, here's when I can, and they're going to wait as late as they can to watch the weather and then cancel all but one of them. And so there will be some places that were not as proactive left holding the bag. And also on the promotion, I think we're doing a good job partnering with UCA and just being, we are who we are. We're not, the Buffalo River or Hawksbill Crag or whatever, but we've got, all these really smart people who will provide great family programming and educational programming. And we've got the interstates and the hotels and the hospitality and the whole package. There may be some places that are even communities left holding the bag if this doesn't hit some pretty astronomical, pun intended, estimates. And we won't be one of those places. We'll be ready, but we don't have both feet out there on thin ice. So been a pretty good and thoughtful approach, but it has been thoughtful. It hasn't just been forgotten about. And now's the most important kind of, let's get out there and let folks know.
Well, with the
period of promotion.
Just a question, with the school district closing, what's the city stance, the chamber stance like on that money? What's the plans there? I mean, I know they're not gonna let the police off, the fire department off, but like, are y'all gonna be closed, going to UCA and doing that? Your building?
Our office will be open. We will have staff at UCA helping with their event because Mary Margaret has helped coordinate all of the food and arts and crafts vendors for UCA. She's got tow truck vendors, and we're just letting them come out there for free. We're not charging anything, not trying to make money off of that. And so we'll be out there helping UCA do whatever they need.
I think for a single event, like where do I go to watch the eclipse, that's probably the one that we'll be pushing. I mean, obviously we have other people that want to get behind something, we're fine sharing that. But, that's kind of the community facing event. But then also, I think there's better stuff to be had maybe than, there's good opportunity the night before. Like, hey, you stay here, eat here, hang out, come check out downtown, and then tomorrow morning, figure out where you need to go. You need to drive 10 minutes or 3 hours. You got time either way. So, and you can go west, you can go north from here. So, I think we're in a great spot, and we're not having to cross our fingers and hope 100,000 people show up from somewhere just to get our money back.
We decided just to be ourselves.
Yeah, that's it.
I wish you'd said that earlier, so I wouldn't talk so much.
No, but you said,
We decided to be ourselves.
Travis, from the city standpoint, it's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that we have streets that we can move around on, that in case emergency vehicles need to move, streets need to be clear. So we've got, we'll have a lot of people in the streets that day.
I figure.
Derek, what I was going to ask a minute ago is, are we going to have to shut the street down, shut Oak Street down to fix that sign?
I think the plan, based on my last conversation, was that they were going to try to get out there very early one morning and do it kind of before traffic got
Can be done in the
real
morning.
busy. That was the
I bet
impression
you
I
can
was
do a lot of
given.
that one lane at a time. She'll just move the scissor lift and not have to close it all through.
Okay.
It's just fast, lateral quickness.
Oh.
Say so.
Hi, Spencer. Anything else? I think that's all. Thank you both for sending your emails and information before the meeting. That's very helpful. All right, parks.
Well, we're entering into our busy season. Baseball and softball has started back up. This past weekend, we had CTS baseball. Here, they used all three parks at around 80 teams. I know of a couple different, the turf continues to pay dividends. We got all that rain Thursday and Friday. I know some cities had to cancel their tournaments on Saturday. We did not, obviously.
Good.
We actually like to have these early in the year because some teams that got hung out to dry that signed up at other cities, later on in the year, it pays dividends when there's weather on Thursday and Friday. They're thinking, hey, let's sign up in Conway because we know we can play in Conway. So, but anyway.
Bryant was a swamp.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Why didn't you go there?
I'm not the coach.
We also had a Conway Junior volleyball event this past weekend at the Sports Center. The next two weekends, we'll be hosting 2 ASE basketball tournaments. I looked at the numbers for both of those. They look really, really healthy. 2 fast pitch tournaments and a baseball tournament also coming the rest of this month. As far as tennis goes, we hosted the SEC Calcutta Championships this past weekend. That's not real SEC.
Well, I
The flags make it appear.
have a problem with this because we're going to get our hands slammed in the door. We're flying an SEC flag and flying all those school flags. Somebody's going to send a picture to the SEC office, and we're going to have somebody in town going, what in the world is going on? Because it is not sanctioned.
I'll talk to Wyatt about that. But it was a healthy tournament.
Sure, they think they're seeing something they're not going to see.
There's a lot of SECs we can make a name.
We'll be resurfacing the courts out there at tennis. Also, starting on the 19th, probably be done with that probably at the end of the month, something like that. And as far as the expo goes, Raylana is actually wrapping up. Her show is done, but she's in the move-out phase right now. The home show will start on March 15th and 16th, and then we have a gun show on the 23rd and the 24th. And that wraps it up for us.
I know I've had several comments to me about batting cages at the baseball fields and softball fields. Like the net cages where the coaches can go there, warm up, not just, we win, there's just people out there hitting the ball everywhere. Balls are
Tunnel.
Yeah, a tunnel, like one between each field.
We've talked about that. I know like Bryant has it, Cabot has it, and we've talked about that in some of the hitting areas, maybe including that. That would be maybe the very last thing that our parks might need to kind of throw another bell or whistle on our park, I guess you'd say.
Or designated area, like at each field, you have 4 or 5 tunnels or something. But no, like Andy says, let's spend the money if we got it. Mm-hmm. And just other things are out there, so.
I'll run it by Andrew.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Denise.
Reissued an AMP permit for the business Caked Up over by Target. They have new owners. It's the same people that own Cassie's Cookies. They bought Caked Up. And I issued an AMP permit for Risky Biscuits, local vendor over here on Locust Street. In the parking lot where Wonder House used to be.
Anything from Whataburger yet?
No.
I don't know if you've noticed, but they started construction over there.
I did see that.
Where is this?
Permits office will send them.
Over behind Panda Express.
Panda Express.
Other side.
On Oak Street,
Sleep
right at the
number.
interstate.
Good God.
Everybody knows.
Oak
Yeah,
Street.
the old Denny's.
No, thank you.
We call it Conway Land. Used to be a gas station there,
Gotcha.
where Panda Express
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Gotcha. Anything else? New business?
And they can be open 24 hours a day.
Good. You ready?
You ready for us?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. It feels weird to not be at the table.
Now we're real, hey Corey, now you're too close.
How's this?
Come on up.
Derek, I'm gonna get close to you for a second. Kimmy, don't leave me up here by myself. Do y'all have a copy of these? I'll pass those down.
I read mine.
You did your homework?
Boutique hotel. Have somebody come stay in the city.
Yeah. So I think we know most everyone, but for anyone that we might not know, Corey Parks, Chief Economic Development Officer for the Chamber, the CDC, but then I also work very closely with Kim in the Downtown Partnership, and I think everyone knows Kim. How do you not know Kim? But so what we've got before you is a request for $48,000. So to set this stage a little bit, the Conway Development Corporation is in the process of doing an economic development study for the entire county, and recognizing that was an opportunity for us to potentially have some work done specific to downtown. We built out a scope of work that would accomplish all the things that we wanted to accomplish. Based off of some conversations that we had, we expected that to be about $50,000. We then got a response back of about $300,000. So then we went back to the drawing board and kind of pared the scope down. But still, we had a shortfall of $48,000. So we've secured funding for a little more than half, but just about 50% of the proposal. And so the highlights of that proposal are on the document before you. And so the request is, again, $48,000 for you all to help fund an economic development study for downtown. You may be wondering, why does that matter? In our world of being economic and community development practitioners, and also just good Conway residents, we're believers that downtown Conway is very much the heart of the community. And so as we extend and grow downtown, that will have a ripple effect across the community. And so this has some components that aren't specific to tourism, but want to be able to kind of walk you through kind of what the expectations are for this. So, and if at any point you have questions, feel free to talk or stop me and I can continue on. So doing a SWOT analysis and benchmarking against peer and aspirational communities, we think that's important because we may think that we know who the best people to compare ourselves against are, but having a third party say, hey, these are the people that you really should be comparing yourself, not only for where you are currently, but where you could be in the future. That will be helpful as we try to figure out, okay, well, this project will or will not potentially work here, because there's benefits in being the first mover, but there's also some challenges with that. And so being able to look to another place that has had success or challenges with a specific project is helpful, because then we can kind of learn from their mistakes or their wins, and build on that as it makes sense for our community. Identify leading practices for redevelopment and revitalization in those benchmarks. So again, doubling down on learning from what other places are doing well, and what they're not doing well, so that we can hopefully not get those need those Band-Aids if we were venturing out on our own. But then specific to tourism, so there's a component in there that we spelled out very specifically. Investigate the feasibility of constructing a boutique hotel in downtown Conway. So that's something that has been within conversations for a long time. And we've had the economic, we did a study previously on the economic benefits of that. But then even drilling down a little bit more specific and thinking through, okay, well, if this was to happen, where's the best place for this to happen at? Because again, that's hitting a different segment of the community and providing people directly in downtown. And so looking at those peer markets that we have hopefully identified in this process, saying, okay, well, do they have something similar, a property similar in their downtowns? And if so, is it a flag that we want to try to get to consider our market? Is it someone that is kind of on their own, that has maybe a hospitality group? But again, prioritizing sites specific to downtown, but then also looking at downtown theater. So that's something, again, that has been on the radar for a long time, but again, examining the feasibility of having that amenity to drive tourism to restaurants and other folks that are going to be operating in downtown. Explore the viability of adding 200 residential units in downtown. So again, that is not necessarily tourism related, but that does help businesses as it relates to restaurants, retailers, et cetera. That's going to be built-in folks that are going to create some additional activity for those businesses, which with that increased activity will then drive additional people to want to be in downtown. And then we have a great opportunity in Conway with the redevelopment of Markham Street. And there's been some pretty pictures and plans that have been laid out. And so what I didn't say at the beginning, anything that has been produced related to the area that we're studying will be incorporated in this. So there's a parking study, which I'll talk about in just a second. There's a redevelopment plan specific to Markham Street. There's the city's citizen survey. There is Conway 2035. All of those things will be taken into consideration as they're making any of these recommendations. So that includes, again, Markham Street and then mixed-use development, but then infrastructure. The biggest being parking. So we've had a need for a parking deck downtown, but where is the best place for that? As we look to redeveloping and revitalizing certain parts of downtown, what's the best location for that? Because in 2015, there was a parking study done, but how has information changed since then? Because I don't know about y'all, but downtown looks dramatically different than it did in 2015. So what might have been the best location then may not be the best location now. And especially thinking about the current state and the future state of how we want downtown to redevelop. So all in, that's kind of the high points of what we would expect to see out of this. Again, it's kind of changed because we thought we were going to get a proposal for 50, and then it was 300, and then we pared it down to just under 100. And so we would appreciate you all being partners in this process because we do very much believe that downtown has a ripple effect across the community. Because if you're bringing kids in for a tournament for the weekend, having more restaurants, more businesses downtown, in addition to the ones that we already have, that's going to increase the viability, we think, of not only the downtown that our residents get to benefit from, but also our visitors as well. So that I said a lot. Happy to answer any questions that y'all might have.
What do y'all, the committee or Conway, clarify as downtown? Like, is it going from Locust Street to Hartwright to Hendricks to St. Joe? Because
Basically, that's
because
exactly
very
it.
good.
you've got the Salter Loft over there.
Yep.
You've got this over here in the old airport,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's not.
But I mean, you're walking
Yeah,
from
yeah, it's
downtown.
in
I'm just
Washington.
asking
Yeah,
questions
yeah,
for
yeah.
people. You've got some lofts that are downtown.
Right.
And I'm looking at downtown, like, where you gonna put a little hotel?
Yep.
Where you gonna put a 200-bedroom community or a theater? If we're within about 5-6 blocks of everything's gonna be right here, it's gonna be kind of congested.
Density is key.
I mean,
So
so
the theater, I'll
Yeah.
answer for them.
and that theater is, I'm just asking questions. That's not a bad
Yeah.
problem for me. I'm
So-
thinking
It's already a
downtown
piece of
business.
property that's owned.
Right.
Yes.
People that already have businesses downtown and parking's already hectic.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of throwing that out there for everybody else.
I've heard parking's a problem, so.
That's why
That's not news to you.
that's why I agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I thought Mike was gonna be here today, so like,
Yeah.
I read this like
Yeah.
Mike go through pretty good.
Yeah.
No, and that's just asking because I don't know what the dimensions of downtown or how it's defined in the Conway.
Yeah. The good thing is there's a lot of available acreage that could be redeveloped. So for instance, if the Salters were to see the benefit of developing the lot that they own, that's a great potential location for 200 additional units. But that creates a problem. If and when that happens, that takes away parking that is beneficial to more than just the properties that are owned by Engage.
Right.
And so there's we have to zoom out almost and take a 100,000-foot view and say, okay, if we are going to redevelop, how should it be done in a meaningful way, taking all of these different parts into consideration? Because if you think about it in just one-offs, it's like, okay, well, we can do this and we can do that. But then you look up and you're like, well, we said yes to this. And by saying yes to this, we've now said no to this other thing without even thinking about it. Like using, sorry, I didn't pick on you for a second, but using Whataburger as an example, right? That's something that people wanted to see, but saying no allowed us to then have not just the one restaurant that was requesting, but then two, because that site became viable for another company who wasn't going to run 24/7 operations. And so that's what we want to try to do with this is think 10, 20, 30 years down the road. And again, taking into consideration the work has already been done in other studies that because we had this question from the Downtown Partnership folks. It's like, okay, well, studies are great, but like, what are you going to do with this? And so this, we believe, will give us the ammunition that we need in conversations about, okay, well, this is a project that the community has deemed as important. These are 3 places that have something similar. So assuming that we have equal to success as these other places, then this becomes more viable and more easier for somebody to pencil it rather than saying, you know what, we really think this theater is a good idea. But if there are 2 other places that have similar makeups as us are having success with it, that's an easier sell to a potential donor. Same with a boutique hotel, same with a parking deck, et cetera.
Has anybody looked at the number of parking spots and a parking deck that we would need? What would that be, Mike Coates? What would that
I mean,
be?
many things out here stir
Yeah.
my soul. I want you to kind of know that just for downtown, 'cause obviously we've been a big part of it we'll hit 20 this summer. June the 8th will be 20 this summer. So there's been a little change in town, but there's not a bad idea on this entire group here. The way I kind of look at it is there are several things, depending on what happens, could benefit all of downtown Conway. And making it walkable, make other things. The hotel sounds really nice too, but I think there's just a lot of good ideas as how you prioritize. I mean, with all those places, everybody's going to want a place to park.
Yeah. Andy, to your question, that's for someone a lot smarter than me.
Okay.
So we have, and Kim could probably quote it better than I can, we have a parking study that was done, commissioned by the Downtown Partnership in 2015 that will be part of this process. But again, that's for someone smarter than me to be able to say, all right, as an engineer, this is the number of spots that you need to serve the current and future needs of the redeveloped community.
And one thing I'd like to throw in there, it's to me, parking's not really, it's to get the staff off the streets. The people that have to work in downtown, that's kind of the key. So it's not, doesn't necessarily have to fill up with tourists. It can fill up with employees from other places that allow other guests to come in. That's one thing.
Well, because we have this is a conversation we have to revisit often, thinking about folks that want to open operations in downtown. It's like, well, if I want to have 50 employees or 100 employees, where are they going to park? And so again, that's for somebody that can have an engineering stamp and say, this is what you need to do and this is how many spots you need.
Well, I'm not the smartest guy in the
I'm
room.
not here either.
But all I gotta do is look right there and I can imagine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories of parking with 7, 7, 7, and 7, so 28 a floor.
Yeah.
So you're talking 125, 128 spots right there where I can see it.
Yep.
And it's not hard to envision that right there. And I think I know who owns that property. So that makes it more economically viable.
Well, are we talking free parking or you're charging for parking? Because if you're charging, then your employees aren't going to park there.
Yeah. I would say that's probably a later conversation. I think the goal with the analyzing the parking study is to determine, okay, is this the need that we think that we have real or not? And then if so, what would be the most centralized location as we look at redeveloping? Because if we put it here, that's great. But if all of our new development is on Markham,
I get it.
then that makes it less walkable. So that's where we need to take all of it into consideration. But then that is an important part of it. It's like, okay, well, if I'm a company, do I want to pay for my employees to have X number of spots to park in? Or if I'm a business, do I want to have X number of customer spots? That's a conversation I think that will have to be sorted out later. But the biggest question mark is where does the structure go, assuming that they confirm what we think to be true, which is that we need additional
I
parking.
think it'll all have to go in there, and you got to figure out what to do with your surface too, because if that costs and surface is free,
Yeah.
people will just.
Yeah.
So it's a whole black magic to
Because-
get it done, but
The
That's
way-
why people do a study on it.
Yeah,
Well,
the way that we
that's
the way that we spelled it out was parking management. not parking deck.
Yeah.
So the ask is of examination of parking management solutions, because it is going to Jamie's point, it is going to be a combination of using existing surface, but then also how do you motivate folks to, if that would be in 2-hour parking, don't need to be in 2-hour parking to use the other alternative.
If we were to allocate and agree on this, which I'm not against at all, I just got the questions. When will it start? And how long will it take?
It
What
would,
other cities will we be looking at
It would-
compared to Conway?
it would start immediately.
Okay.
And I would expect probably within the next 6 to 8 months, we would have our final deliverable. And then as far as the benchmarking places, that's for them to determine. So I couldn't give you an answer. I could make some guesses on who
Guys,
it might
no.
be.
I went to something at Hendricks and we had some guy come in from Northeast, I believe, and he did different cities similar to
Yeah.
Conway. Maybe it was for the walking trail or bike trail or
Yeah.
something. So I just didn't know if it's something like that.
It will be probably suburbs of medium-sized metro areas, colleges, or a college. So there's some pins that I could start to pick out, but
Dry-
again,
Make sure it says Dry County too.
Dry County, yeah. Yeah.
Dry County.
That is
United
County,
States.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
Other questions?
Here's what I know we cannot spend A&P money on, and I think that's as important as anything else. We cannot spend it on employee salaries. We know we can't use that money for that.
Yeah.
We know we can use it for anything that's going to drive people to our community. I think that's given. Would anybody disagree with that? Okay. I see this as something that would drive people to our community. So I don't see anything wrong with this, and I think this would be a good spend as we look forward to the next 20 years.
I'll
and
add,
beyond.
Corey asked me the other day if there were any studies the commission had paid for in the time that I've been here. At first, I was like, I don't know, but then I remembered the A&P paid for the initial wayfinding signage study, and I feel like this is similar in what you will get back from it.
I'm all in.
For the study or the parking lot?
It don't really matter.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, but what I'm saying is I think all of these are really, some really good ideas. And all of them have a chance to impact Conway. And as that grows, most businesses in town grow too. So there's no one particular thing that I would, say, but yeah, I would be in for this.
So, I need a motion.
I made a motion, mate.
Mike, a motion to approve the 48,000, start this,
I
study.
will second it, but we need to make sure and see if y'all have any issues with this, because y'all are not right here in downtown Conway. So what are your thoughts?
I'm thinking,
Either,
what is Conway gonna do with another hotel?
I don't know the answer to that. When I hear boutique hotel, I think smaller. I think
Well, and that's what I've been sitting here thinking too, because, I mean, yes, summer months are great when there's sports and stuff, but sports isn't gonna be really drawn to a boutique hotel. But in the slower periods of the year, we all literally fight each other for business. So that part concerns me a little with it being a boutique. I'm thinking it's going to be a lot smaller hotel. So that part doesn't bother me too bad. But there's no hotels down in this area. They're all right off exits.
right.
Well, and I think this is
So,
not a foregone conclusion either. I mean,
This is just a study.
is
this
this
is
something
just a
we're
study.
gonna,
well, that was going to be my
is this
question.
something we could
Is this-
accommodate or
Right,
not?
is this
Yeah.
just for, this is just a study, this isn't a, we are absolutely
No, yeah.
moving forward?
No.
And,
Go ahead.
oh, well, the amenity at the hotel is just one part of that, bringing people to Conway to enjoy downtown. I mean, that's, the overall, goal for this is to, increase that foot traffic for everybody. So it's not just for downtown.
Mhm.
I don't see.
But I mean, and then we would also be the results of this are gonna be proactively shared with hotel operators.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'll be the first in
if
line.
it's a good idea, you know, we're not
I feel
gonna,
like you know.
Feel like I know somebody.
if there's an opportunity there, that's not something we're gonna just put on a shelf.
And I think it's also worth noting that, like, if these are just the ideas that have bubbled up from conversations that we've had as a community over the past 15 plus years, but they may look at these benchmarking places and say, you know what, that's really not where you should focus. That's not going to have the result that you would want based off of these other communities that we're looking at. That's just, we know that that's something that people have said would be a benefit to the community, specifically downtown, but then rippling out. And so they may say, you know what, it's probably not a best use of your resources. But I will also point out, because I know that I threw out a little under 100,000 and also threw out 300,000. And Kim, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I know that Wooded Rock, which their scope is different, but I think they're spending almost $750,000. I wanted to say it was more than that. And so,
Well, it's more than that, but that's the downtown piece.
downtown specific part. Studies are not near as affordable as you would expect them to be.
I'll
Did that
go back.
answer your question?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just making sure that answered her question.
Once again, this is just to prove the amount for the study. This is not structures or anything going, it's just a study. And like James said, our reports will be, I'm sure, open to the public. Especially since you're approving 48,000, I bet you have a copy.
No, there will be, assuming this progresses and we get the green light, there will be a follow-up that says, hey, we'll need participation of you all to some extent because you represent a broader group.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I got a motion by Mike. Any other discussion? Need a second.
South second.
Second by Andy. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Appreciate you all.
Very
You're
good.
welcome.
Thank you, well done.
Will get us some good information.
And just for clerical purposes, I would say that would come out of your special projects fund in the budget.
And when we know, when you're, I guess you'll send the invoice to.
Yes, well, I'll coordinate with Rachel and figure out what all needs to happen. I wouldn't expect the money to be due until some work's been done. And so we'll follow up as necessary.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
One last thing real quick, sorry.
I'm not leaving, I was
You
just
you
gonna.
can stretch. Next month, April 9th, good? It's a Tuesday. April 8th is the D-Day.
Depends on how dark it gets. How long it stays that way.
Figure out how people feel on the Tuesday after a day like I am Monday. So right now, I think you have proposed as Tuesday, April 9th.
Rachel, is there anything we need to do between now and April 8th that will help you?
I
You
don't,
need money for anything to get words out?
I mean, I have an advertising budget. I think I'm good.
Is there anywhere that someone can go online to see what's going to happen in Conway?
Yes, so UCA has a list on their website. If you go to visitconway.org, we have an Eclipse tab. It has information about hotels and about things going on. It links directly to UCA's site. If you go to the calendar function of visitconway.org, there is an Eclipse specific tab. So when other Eclipse events that maybe I don't know about are pulled in from the internet, I can add them to that tab. So if you're looking just for events taking place those couple of days, that will all live there as well. And if you want Eclipse glasses, come by the office. Mike, we've already pulled some for you.
Thank you.
Happy to provide them and you can give them out to your customers. My mother let me know the other day that she and her husband purchased Eclipse glasses from their optometrist for $5 a pair.
Oh.
So
Mr. Money.
Don't be that person.
I was gonna
I know
say,
downtown business
on
is
behalf
selling
of the
them.
hotels, thank you for giving them to the properties, because in Little Rock, what I was telling them earlier before y'all got here, they sold them to the hotels for $1 a piece.
I mean, y'all already paid the money. Paid for with taxes that you collected for us, so.
Sound like Social Security, don't it?
But yeah, they sold them to us for $1 a piece.
Silly.
They taxed on it anyway.
Take some Conway ones down there to your Little Rock property.
Yes, they are branded with the same Visit Conway logo.
It's the same clips, it's the same clips, doesn't matter.
NASA approved glasses, not from Amazon. So I've heard people telling me they ordered them from Amazon.
Yeah, we were gonna be one of them.
I need a motion do we need a motion to change the date? Yes.
Go ahead.
You might as
Go
well.
ahead and move it.
I'll make a motion to change the date
To April 9th.
to
Tuesday.
April the
Oh,
9th
yeah,
at
I ain't
2:30.
here. Hey.
All right, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? The motion to adjourn.
Might not be there on the.
Talk about the catastrophe.